In today's video, I'm gonna dive into a question that many people keep asking me. Which one is easier to learn, Italian or Spanish? And instead of giving you a one-line answer, I decided to break it down into 8 parts so you can really understand the difference from every angle. In part 1, I will tell you how I first came across Spanish. In part 2, I will talk about how Italian entered my life and what it was like learning it after already speaking Spanish. In part 3, we'll get into the sound and rhythm differences. Part 4 is all about vocabulary and grammar, what is similar and what's totally different. In 5, we'll explore culture and immersion. Then in part 6, I will give my honest answer on which one is actually easier, based on my real experience. Part 7 is my personal advice, what I would recommend depending on your goals, personality, and motivation. And finally, part 8 wraps it all up. So if you're trying to decide between learning Italian or Spanish, or maybe you're already learning one and curious about the other, this video is for you. Let's jump in. Part 1. My first contact with Spanish. So let's rewind a bit. My first contact with Spanish actually came when I was about 12. There was this telenovela playing on public TV and I had no idea what they were saying, but I loved how it sounded. The energy, the rhythm, the music behind the words, it all felt alive. Then my aunt sent me this little vocabulary book. It had basic words, pictures, and phrases. I flipped through it once or twice, but honestly, I was 12. I was not going to sit down and memorize a list of words, so I just left it there on the shelf. Years later, life kind of brought Spanish back to me, and this time it was serious. I got a scuba diving internship in Canary Islands in Spain. And that's when Spanish went from, oh, I like how it sounds, to actually I need to understand people's to survive here. At first it was chaos. Everyone spoke so fast, especially Canarian Spanish, which is full of shortened words, slang, and a strong accent. But what helped me massively was having local friends. People from Spain, Colombia, Argentina. Every conversation was like a free lesson. That's when I realized something powerful. You don't have to learn a language. If you can, you live it. Part 2. Enter Italian. Now, after I became fluent in Spanish, I thought to myself, alright, if I can speak Spanish, Italian should be a piece of cake. I mean, they sound similar, right? They share a lot of vocabulary and even grammar looks familiar. And at first, yeah, it really felt easy. I would read Italian text and already understand about 70% just by guessing from Spanish. But here's the twist. That familiarity became my biggest enemy because I started mixing them all up all the time. There is this thing called interference when your brain confuses two similar systems. So I would be speaking Italian and suddenly a Spanish word would just slip in. Or worse, I would think I said something correctly in Italian, but I was actually speaking Italiano mezclado con español, like this weird hybrid nobody understood. It took me a while to retrain my brain and to stop relying on similarities and really listen to the music of Italian. Part 3. The sound and rhythm difference. Here's something most people don't realize. Italian and Spanish might be cousins, but they sound completely different. Spanish is sharp, quick, rhythmic. It's full of energy and direct sounds, pa 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 or ra ra ra. It's like a fast dance. Italian, on the other hand, is smoother. It's musical, emotional, almost like singing. The words, I feel like they stretch more and the vowels open wider. Amore, ragazzo, bellissimo. When you're learning, that sound pattern actually matters. So if you like singing along to melodies, Italian can feel natural and easy. If you prefer short, punchy words and fast speech, Spanish will feel smoother. So the easier one really depends on your ear, what feels natural to imitate. Part 4. Vocabulary and grammar. Now let's talk about the technical side. vocabulary-wise, Italian and Spanish share around 80% of their words. That means if you know one, you automatically recognize a lot of the other. For example, casa means house in both. Amico and amigo is friend. Buono and bueno means good. So yes, the vocabulary helps, but it's also dangerous because of false friends. Like embarazada in Spanish means pregnant, not embarrassed. In Italian, on the other hand, imbarazzata means embarrassed. Mix that up in conversation and, well, gets funny fast. Grammar-wise, they are both Latin-based. You've got gendered nouns, verb conjugations, tenses, and so on. But I would say Italian verbs are a bit more complex in practice. Spanish uses a lot of tenses in daily conversation, but Italian adds subtle variation of politeness, tone, or emotion. So if you love structure and don't mind memorizing patterns, you'll be fine in either, obviously. But if your grammar scares you, Spanish might feel simpler day to day. Part 5. Culture and immersion. Here is something people tend to overlook. A big part of how easy a language feels comes from its culture. When I was in Spain, everyone wanted to chat. They would correct me gently, joke around, include me in conversations, and that made me feel so much easier to learn fast. When on the other hand, I spent time around Italians, it was similar but different. Italians are expressive, emotional. They will interrupt you, finish your sentences, and gesture widely. So you end up learning not just words, but a body language. Both cultures are incredibly welcoming, but I found Spanish people more open to speaking slowly for learners, while Italians expect you to catch up fast. That can be intimidating at first, but it's also a great motivator. Part 6. Which one is really easier? If I had to give you a simple answer, I would say Spanish is slightly easier for most learners. Here's why. It's spoken in more countries, so you hear it everywhere. Movies, music, social media. There are tons of free learning resources. Plus, pronunciation is more straightforward. What you read is basically what you say. And because it's so widely spoken, you can find people to practice with easily. Italian, on the other hand, feels a bit more niche. It's more romantic, musical, and emotionally expressive. So if you're drawn to Italian culture, food, or art, that motivation alone can make it easier for you personally. In short, Spanish is easier to start with, Italian is easier to fall in love with. Part 7. What I would recommend myself. If you're trying to decide between the two, ask yourself, which culture excites you more? Which one do you see yourself using? Which one do you want to sound like when you speak? Because that emotional connection matters more than anything else. And if you're already fluent in one, learning the other one becomes much easier as long as you take it slow and separate them clearly. Part 8. Final thoughts. In the end, both languages gave me something unique. Spanish opened doors to Latin America and connected me with people everywhere. Italian, on the other hand, taught me that the beauty of expression and how language isn't just communication, it's emotion. So whichever one you choose, remember this. You don't need to pick the easiest one. You need to just pick one that keeps you excited to learn. That's the real secret. If you enjoyed this video, hit like, drop a comment telling me which language you find easier, and subscribe for more stories, tips, and real experiences from my journey learning foreign languages around the world.